Welcome back to the Titanium Hanger. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the 1988 Matchbox Peewee Playhouse toy line. And I don't have all of this stuff. I actually collected this a year ago, and I did kind of stop on it. It was fun for about a month, and then I stopped. I'm going to talk about why I kind of stopped on this. I'm also going to talk about why now is not the best time to collect these if you're wanting to get a good deal on these. And I'll kind of tell you the prices I paid a year ago for this stuff. But with the passing of Paul Reubens, this is kind of a sad time, and it's kind of fun to reflect on what was. And even if you weren't a huge fan of this, you knew what Pee-wee's Playhouse was back in the day. So let's take a quick look at this on a Saturday morning. Coming up. The show itself was kind of wacky and fun and crazy, but it really wasn't my favorite show. I did watch it because it was there. I never had any of these toys, and I think the toy line came out years after the show started. I guess had to show that it was a success before they backed it with toys. But there's so much going on with it, and the word of the day and all that kind of stuff, and that there's so much in the Playhouse. It's a huge Playhouse for one person, but of course he had friends that coming over and all that. But it's very interesting, creative. There was some claymation stuff to it, but interesting show from back in the day. It also spawned a couple of movies, but let's take a look at these toys. Okay, I'm going to run through this real quick, what all I've got, then I'm going to kind of show what I don't have. But I actually have a mix of 3 different toy lines here. I don't have just the Matchbox, but we'll get into each one of these, and I'll take a quick look at this playset, and we'll have fun with all that, hopefully. And so let's start with Pee-wee himself. Okay, so there's 2 different Peewee Hermans, and they're the same figure, but you could get them just by himself, individually carded like this. The figure comes with a whole lot of paint on his face, and it's kind of a goofy look on his face, the signature hair. And then he has a soft goods jacket for his suit, but then it's sort of to match his lower body pants that are on there that are just molded in. He's got this, of course, signature red tie and a little bit of articulation. Let's see here. That's what it looks like without it on. All the way out, 360, some elbow, little head side to side, waist swivel. I mean, there's quite a bit of articulation. He has to be able to sit down. He has to be able to do some stuff, all that quirky, crazy things that he did in the show. Now, I like his white shoes. He also was available with this, with his scooter. Now, I understand the scooter comes with the playset also. So I don't actually remember how I bought all this stuff. I know that I generally tried to hit $10 a figure as I was doing this, and so with that, I would count like the scooter as a figure. So I'd say that would be worth $10, and as I was collecting on the cheap. I don't know where I got the helmet from because I know that was like a separate purchase, but I know I picked it up. It's kind of like a Mad Balls helmet kind of thing. It's kind of a sign of the 80s. Now, that you could buy this separate, and that's the only way to get the helmets. That's my understanding of all of this, and from when I look at the box and package stuff. By the way, there's a glut of this stuff on the market. We'll talk about the collecting of this as we go here, but there's a ton of this out there. But right now, it's just kind of picking up some steam because of the recent loss that we've had here. But looking at it, those are the 2 options to buy a Pee-wee Herman figure. Next, we're going to take a look at Cherry. Cherry is, of course, an important part of the show, and it took me a while to get one that I thought was decent. And I actually thought I could clean it up a little bit more than it is. Literally, what you see in the pictures is as good as it's going to get. I tried like 6 different methods of cleaning this. Flocked. It is flocked, and when the flocked gets dirty and it's a lighter color, it's just going to stay dirty. That's as clean and good as it's going to get. I tried a few different methods. I could not get it any better than this. But Cherry, this is one of the better looking cherries that are out there. And then Pee-wee fits in it perfect. So that's how that goes. Now, there's another Cherry. There's 2 others that I have. So this one is from SUPER7 for the Reactions line. Now, the SUPER7 Reaction line is blowing up right now because there are characters included in there that weren't made with the Matchbox toy line. It's my belief. But for whatever reason, they're all blowing up, all of those. And so with that, here is the figure, 5 points of articulation. And I remember seeing them back in the day. I don't know if SUPER7 still has the license to put out another run of these. If so, they probably will. But then you have the chair. So the chair itself has like those weighted eyes that move. It'll kind of stay the same position, but as you move it, the eyes open and close. So kind of a feature to it. but it's definitely too small. Definitely too small for this figure. I mean, you could pull it off if you really, really want to, but it's definitely too small. So what is this other one over here? And I thought this other one was probably the best cherry ever made. This, believe it or not, is a Funko Pop. One of like 3 Funko Pops that I think are better than, or well, not to say better, but decent. But this is probably the best Funko Pop ever made, in my opinion, because you got it, it fits this figure, it's not going to get all dirty looking from the flocking, and it matches the show, and it looks really good. I'm shocked that Funko made such a good looking cherry, and it works. So if you want to get a Funko Pop cherry, this is the time. Well, probably not right now, but it's something that you might want to track down. So next up I have the original vintage Jambi, the Genie, and Long Live Jambi. Mecha like a high, mecha honey ho. So this is kind of cool. You got like a floating head in there. You've got a reflectiveness in the back, and this opens and closes. This one, when I was collecting it last year, was one of the hardest ones to get. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go after the hardest stuff first, and then the easier stuff will go. The second hardest is Reba, the male lady, and we'll talk about that. I'll show some pictures of that stuff. But there he is. Here he is on the card, and there's a carded version of him, and then there's the band. I don't have all of the band, I just have this dude, so loose. So once I got a carded one, I didn't go after it anymore, but that's how it looks. One of the harder ones to get. I don't know why, maybe it's because it's small and it got lost easy. So the next one I have is the King of Cartoons, and it says it right there, King of Cartoons. They were $4 at Kmart back in the day. Peewee official brand, posable, and it comes with a removable crown. The thing is, you want to get that crown. It's hard to get. To me, the crown is worth more than the figure, and I would see the figure without the crown all the time for like $6-8 last year. And so with that, he's probably still really one of the easiest ones to get out of them. But I did pick up a spare loose crown, so that if I come across a figure, then that's great. But seen on TV. Here's what the back looks like of the card back. You get to see Collect All Peewee and his pals, and then there was like a big pull string Peewee I didn't mess with. I also heard that NECA, yeah, this isn't the net. This is the Matchbox, right? Yeah, Matchbox. I heard NECA made their line of figures. They reissued these or something along those lines. That's interesting that they did that. But anyhow, that's pretty much the whole toy line. I guess we could go into just looking at the card back to see the rest of them. So this one is Miss Yvonne. I don't have her. And the thing is, she's got that hair. That hair is always nappy. Her dress looks funky. I mean, after years and years. Then there's the Cowboy Curtis, which was played by Lawrence Fishburne, which I thought that was really cool. Then down here on these, I have these, but I have them as different companies than Matchbox. So there is the Terry, there's Magic Screen and Conky, and then over here, I don't have any representation of Globey or Randy. And I was just looking at this, I was thinking, I've seen lots that had all the stuff I was missing, and I was like, I'll do $10 a figure or something like that, and they just went to like $50 or something. I thought that's too much for me back then, but maybe I should have sprung for a little bit more back then, who knows. But anyhow, that's pretty much the whole line in a nutshell right there. But let's look at the ones that I got from the other companies. So this is Terry that was packed in with the Funko Pop Cherry. So it's way smaller than the original vintage one. The original vintage one was a wind up. This one does not wind up. So it's cool. It works. I'm happy to have representation. And with this, I really wasn't trying to be a completist or anything. I mean, I was starting to go down that route, but I really wasn't too concerned about it. I actually think these are better looking representations than what we got with the vintage line. So a lot of people bash the SUPER7, but the SUPER7 I think is better. I do think this stuff, because I've seen all this stuff in person and not wanted to spend the money on it. And $10 each was my max on buying any of these. So Magic Screen, it's got a nice look to it. The vintage one's going to say Hello Peewee on it or something along those lines. I think the vintage one's a wind up or something along those lines. I don't really know about all that. This one is just very static to it. And so there it is. So it's different. Then we have Randy and whoever this guy is, Chucks, I don't know his name, forgot it, but this one I think is a little bit smaller. I don't know, it might be the same size. He's packed in with Globey, but these are the SUPER7 versions, come as a pair like that, which I think that they look fine, they look great, so no need to go after them. And this is Conky, which has some articulation right here. Now I think Conky was a wind up one. for the vintage Matchbox line, this is just, looks like it's got wheels, but I don't think they roll. It's just in there. So you got some head articulation, some articulation there, and articulation in the arms. But looks the part, and I think very similar in size, maybe a little smaller than the vintage one, but not by much. Okay, the two that were not on the card back were Reba and Ricardo. So Reba the mail lady comes with like a mailbag and a skirt, a removable skirt, which I don't know about all that. So sometimes those are missing. Last year when I was looking for them, I know that I just couldn't nail one down that had both of those in it, or even get two cheap enough. So I kind of passed on it before I decided to no longer go forward with the line. Then Ricardo, I don't think he comes with anything. So he just looks like a referee or something along those lines, like a soccer referee or something. But yeah, it's kind of cool stuff. If you're out to get those are the characters. Okay, so looking at the playset a little closer, we're going to look at all the features real quick, and it almost feels like the Max for, I think that's what they called it, on Saved by the Bell, where they would go in and eat. That front door looks so similar, but maybe I pull up a picture and they don't look anything like it, but that's kind of how I feel. So coming over here, we're going to move over in this direction. Now we do have this little ledge right here, and a window and a ledge. Now, the way this is constructed, it's also made to be a carrying case. It folds up, kind of like Mego did with their stuff back in the day with the bigger figures. But they can sit on here. Obviously, it's leaning a little bit, but that's all three of them. I don't have all three of them, but there's just the one. You can see it leaning right there. And that's okay. That's kind of cool. There's some graphics and stuff there. You're supposed to have a smaller one that goes right here. And that's where you would usually put this guy right here on that one. Now, mine's not complete. I think I paid $50 for my playset. And I found like a couple parts in another lot that had some figures I was looking for. And so with that, I'm not too concerned about it being perfect. I'm just happy about the price. Okay, so over here we kind of see a few things going on. We've got this wall with some stuff. We've got a clock. You got two different dials there for the clocks. This thing is right twice a day, every day, so it's pretty cool. You've got a fish tank, and the fish tank also has, I'm not sure, I think this is a sticker that goes over it, but it's kind of like a 3D sticker that goes over it. I don't know how that's supposed to work, but that's supposed to go on the fish tank right there. Anyway, and then we have Flory. So you push this to see Flory, and let's push it from this angle. And all it is just some eyeballs pop up in the floor, and it's Flory. And then we have this little television, which really just has some of that reflective kind of stuff going on right there. It's hollow. This is exactly like with the McFarlane play sets that they put out, and the kind of display things. Now then we get over here, and then we see that we have a window. Now this, I'm missing my window. This is just a picture I put in there for the time being, but I don't know if I'm going to chase parts down for this or not. But then you would kind of lift this up and down, and that would be like his mouth talking. And I think on the back there would be a button or something for you to lift that up and down so his mouth would talk. Then the front door opens and closes, and then you have this little latch. And I think it's predominantly so that when you turn it into the playset, it keeps the door from flopping open and your stuff flying out. This is kind of a carrying case too. Let's move this cherry out of the way, and we can get over here and look at all this good stuff. So I put this guy over here on this ledge, and this is the singing and talking flowers. You can move them side to side and sing a song along with it. I really think this whole playset was meant for, as he went to each different little segment of his show, that you could play along with it with your playset. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of what toys are all about, reenacting the show or being part of the show. He also have a refrigerator over here, and there was a scene where he would open up the refrigerator and there'd be dancing food, frozen food would dance and stuff like that. So that was always a scene in the show. And then we got the little table over here. So this is kind of two parts. My table is a makeshift of the stand of the table, but you have this little chair. And so I don't really know. I've never actually tested how well he fits in this little area with his table and all that. But there he goes. So that kind of looks like it works. And then this is the cow that was, forgot what they called her, but anyway, that was the cow. And we got this kind of round chair thing here, which is another place that he could come sit, I guess. And I don't know if I don't really remember that from the show. I didn't watch a lot of the show. I just watched a couple of episodes, but it was kind of fun. Then he can come over here, and he usually like pulls an iron, and it opens this door. And then my understanding of how this door works is that you can slide this over, and it will hold up. It will hold up the that door so that you can get access to this. So, and there's enough room for him to come through on it, and then goes out the front door. It shoots him out the front door. So there's pretty much the playset in a nutshell. And the last feature of the playset is to just throw all your toys in here, and just however you want to throw them in there, and then you can close it up with your toys in there, and then push it up here, and then from this side you can slide this off and then plug this into here, and then do your snaps here and there, and you can have a carrying case. So in conclusion here, why did I go through the trouble of buying this last year and not complete the playset, not get the last 6 figures or 5 figures or whatever else I was missing, and complete the whole toy line? Why not? Because when I tried to figure out how to display this, I just did not have a place. I could not allocate the appropriate amount of space for this giant playset that's like 2 foot wide. And most of my shelves can't accommodate this, and the ones that could just weren't in a good spot. And I just thought it wasn't really worth it for me. I thought I had fun collecting it for a month, but here's the thing. I wouldn't finish collecting it right now because there's so much interest in it because of what happened this past week, that I do think there's a few months from now, the hype will die down and it'll be back to normal, more or less, or just wait another year is kind of my philosophy, if I'm even going to go forward with it. But I stopped collecting it. Then I'm probably not going to collect much more of this anyway, but I think it's fun. I'm happy with what I have, and I have fun just revisiting what I have, and I'm curious what you think. Did you collect this? Do you already have a collection of this? Is this fun? Did it bring back any memories? And did you learn something about maybe the Funko Pop, or maybe what, not NECA, but SUPER7 did with the line? But let me know in the comments below, and let me know your memories about this. Like, subscribe, Peewee Herman out.
Spend the day with Peewee and you'll see what we mean. Come on! Get out of there!
God, not Peewee.
Ahoy, Captain Carl!
Mayday, Peewee!
I'll help, Peewee.
Let me help.
Ready to assist you. Peewee?
The wish is granted. Long live Johnny.